Sorry if that sounds proselytical or whatever it was, but everyone's going to make their own choice. But most people don't think about what happens to animals on farms, and it's important sometimes to look at the pictures and to recognize the consequences.
Is there any one thing or time in your life that made you change your mind on eating meat? Any specific?
Any one thing that kind of shifted me? No, it was really a series of various events. And learning about the issues, learning about the animal cruelty, the health consequences, environmental consequences. I came to it both through intellectual as well as emotional reasons. Different folks come to it maybe for more of one or more of the other, but for me it was really both. And the intellectual side may grow in prominence, and the emotional side sometimes may grow in prominence. Usually the emotional side will when I've been into these places and seen some of the conditions. So, but it was really a series of events, and really just learning about what was happening and coming to recognize that I didn't have to be part of it. And it was an issue that nobody really thought about, that needed attention. And then I sort of started getting very active.
Are all the animals at Farm Sanctuary from factory farms, or any of them from facilities that also test on animals?
All the animals at Farm Sanctuary were rescued from the food production business in some way or another. Although we have gotten some pigs, for instance, from the University of Rochester, where they were doing skin research. So we've gotten some from those places, but usually they're from food production facilities, not necessarily industrial operations. Some might be small farms, some might be live animal markets, like in New York City there's actually slaughterhouses. So sometimes animals will escape from the slaughterhouse, run through the streets, and then when that happens, everybody is sort of clamoring for their freedom, which is kind of an interesting irony, because these are people that are probably eating them other times, but then one gets out and they want them to live, which we're happy about, but we wish they'd be for them all to live. So they come from a variety of sources. Yeah.
In your talk, you said something along the lines of milk drinkers have allergies and are congested with mucus. I'm just confused. How does allergies and mucus connect with drinking milk?
Well, milk has a lot of foreign proteins, cow proteins, and it's also very mucousy. So, a lot of friends of mine who are now vegan talked about how before they became vegan, they had to take these various medications to deal with allergies and with, mucus and respiratory problems. And when they stopped drinking cow's milk, it went away. So, and there's science behind this too. I mean, I'm talking more anecdotally here, but if you look at Colin Campbell's work, the China study, he talks about the benefits of plants. And as I say, his study was called The Grand Prix of Epidemiology by the New York Times, and he concluded that human beings are basically a vegetarian species. Yeah.
My family and I raise pigs. I've worked with pigs for 9 years now. I know that they're intelligent animals, they're smart. I know that they have personalities. I also know that some of them are excellent mothers, but some of them, just like humans, are not good mothers. We try to select fruit. We try to ones that are good mothers, but at the same time, you can't always predict that. Like, you can't predict when a human mother is not going to take care of her child. And that's the reason why we use crates, because some of the pigs just don't have mothering ability, and they will either end up laying on their piglets, which is a horrible thing to see. In the crates, it makes it easier for the piglets to move around their mothers if they know that their mother is restricted to a specific area. They know that there's a safe zone. The mother pigs try to signal their babies when they're laying down by grunting, but the babies don't always move fast enough, and the mothers will go down very slowly. But again, the babies aren't always fast enough, so the crates help them. They know that if they're walking underneath mom, they should walk through that area fast. The crates are really a safety device for the piglets. And
but isn't there still a lot of crushing in the crates? Aren't the piglets, don't a lot of them get crushed in those crates?
We haven't had crushing when the mothers are in the crates as frequently as we have when they're out of the crates.
Okay, I mean, I've heard the other side of that one, and I appreciate you, talking about your specific experience, and in terms of the sows, some good mothers, some not good mothers, and what if there was one that was a good mother, would she be allowed to raise her young as a good mother, or would she also then have to be in the crate?
On our farm, we allow the ones that we typically give the piglets a few days to adjust to being around mom, and if she's doing a good job, then we'll let her out of the crate, and she's allowed to be with her piglets. She's allowed to move freely.
Out of the crate with her piglets.
Yes.
Okay. I mean, one of the things I think happens too is that, the sows were probably raised in crates, and maybe never learned to interact in a positive way, with their young. I think, we're products of nature and nurture, humans and other animals. And so it's pretty, these environments these animals grow up in are not necessarily conducive to learning good mothering skills. So I think there's those components as well that are potentially, causing some of the problems you're describing. But, again, this is a big ethological, animal behavioral kind of discussion, and there's not been enough research done on the topic. But from my standpoint, it just seems kind of, backwards that, mother pigs couldn't raise their young in a natural environment. Like Nikki, for example, the sow, who raised her young on the levee and was taking care of them pretty well by herself. I would guess that the person who had her in the gestation crate would probably have said that she was not a good mother. But they probably never gave her the chance to be a good mother. And ideally, through this process, people learn about what happens to these animals, recognize them as individuals, and decide they don't ultimately want to buy them at all, and buy animal products at all. That's ultimately where I hope this goes. But in terms of these things being moved around from state to state, yeah, that may happen. But we'll go state to state and try to ban these things. Eventually we'll try to get a federal law to ban them. And then we would like to see restrictions on selling meat from any country that doesn't prohibit some of those cruelties. So this is an ongoing process, state by state now, but then national and international. Yeah.
I was going to say, in Europe, they're really ahead of us.
Oh, yeah. Oh, in Europe, they're way ahead of us, yeah. These things are being banned across Europe right now. And that's one reason I think, actually, that some producers and industry groups in the U.S. are not so much against banning these crates, because they want to open up European markets. In fact, the pork industry, Smithfield, not too long ago, talked about phasing out gestation crates. The veal industry has talked about phasing out veal crates. So there's starting to be some movement on those issues. This was unfortunately not something that was done on their own. It was really done in response to popular concerns and initiatives passing and industry recognizing that these things are going to start being banned anyway. But there's starting to be movement. Yes.
Okay. Could you explain to me, the way I understand it about the company Monsanto, they can control the corn farmers?
Yeah. Has anybody here seen the movie Food Inc.? Is what she's asking. Yeah. Okay. About Monsanto and the corn and how they, own patents on certain corn, and if some of that corn is found in a farmer's field, they can go after that farmer for his corn. And that's what that movie talked about, and just sort of the injustice of it. How this farmer did not want to plant the corn from Monsanto, did not want that corn, but it blew into his field. And because they own the patent on it, they can now come after him.
Okay, I have another question about Monsanto. When I returned the movie to the movie rental place where I got it, the guy there said that since that movie was made, Monsanto now is trying to get a patent. I don't know if it's a patent, like you say, but it deals with pigs, with hogs. Do you know about that? Like there's something, somehow I don't know if it's the DNA in the pig that they're trying to get the control of, that they can control all the pigs in the world.
I'm not familiar with that one, but
but it's very scary.
Yeah. I mean, these are industries that want to control things. They want to.
How do they do that?
This
is America.
Yeah. Well, it's true. This is America. Yes, that's right. I'm going to Washington. Yeah. You know,